Hey, sassy stuff. I'm Emma here with Georgia, and we're back with another locker room talk. So, today we're going to be talking about an ongoing debate happening in the SEC about whether they should keep the 8 game conference game schedule or move to 9. The 2026 schedule right now is undecided, and a vote is going to happen later this year. There are some reasons for this debate. Obviously, the CFP committee doesn't really reward strength of schedule enough, as we saw this past year. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, he supports 9 games, but some athletic directors worry about additional losses affecting their playoff chances. The first 12-team playoff had no 3-loss teams, making the SEC schools hesitant to expand their difficulty during the year. So what do you think about this, 8 or 9?
I personally, like from a fan standpoint, would love 9 games because non-conference games are usually boring. Like, let's be honest. Nobody really cares to watch Alabama versus Mercer. No offense, Mercer. But like those are the games where you're just like, oh, let me just, put this on. It'll be fun to watch my team destroy this other team. Now, there are instances where, non-conference games are exciting. Like you have, Florida State and Alabama coming up. We have LSU, Clemson. So like there are times where non-conference games are cool. But I do see their point with I don't want to lose another game.
I don't either. And I mean, they do consider strength of schedule, but not as much as SEC teams would hope. I mean, the committee prioritized a win-loss record over strength of schedule. One-loss Indiana was ranked lower than some 2-loss SEC teams due to a lesser strength of schedule. But then you had like Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, who played in the SEC, coming in behind the SMU. So it's kind of a catch-22. Yes, a 2-loss, but then 3 losses, they're like, not so much, even though it is such a harder schedule at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I know people are going to get on here and be like, wow, wow, SEC people crying about strength of schedule. Shut up.
Georgia said, I'm going to fight.
I am so tired of it. Put your team against my team. Do it right now. And let's see what happens. So, you know what? I don't care. You're going to be like, well, then win your games. Well, did those teams win? No, they didn't. They got destroyed. And it was a really boring playoff.
It was. It was a very boring playoff. But you know what? So the Super Bowl was kind of boring too. And those were supposed to be the two best teams. Well, we love that Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl.
I loved watching the Eagles beat up on the Chiefs.
It was nice. It was nice.
It was so nice. I was like, I was just like maniacally laughing. I was like, but I also think it'd be nice because you have games that we don't get anymore. Like I really miss Alabama, Mississippi State. Like that was always a key game when I was growing up. And so we haven't played them in like
I don't remember the last time we played Mississippi.
No, me either. I think it's definitely been more than 2 years. I know that. But I missed that game. I mean, we didn't even play Ole Miss last year.
I know.
That's always a key game. I'm not mad we didn't play Ole Miss.
Well, Jackson Dart was pretty good.
I'm not mad about that one.
Mine too.
I'm like, But then also the other thing I was thinking about with a 9 conference game, Texas wouldn't be able to avoid absolutely everybody. They'd have to play at least one top team in the SEC.
Well, 2, because they played Georgia and lost both times. But then it was like, who else did you play?
Exactly. They've got to at least add another top team in the SEC. So that would be interesting because Texas likes to have their little fairy schedules.
Yeah, absolutely. Molly's not here. It's fine. But also, like, the playoffs probably going to expand to 14, if not 16 teams. So then, like, a 3-loss SEC team could absolutely get into the playoffs. But at the same time, they're still going to take win-losses over strength of schedule. Strength of schedule does matter, but I just don't think as much as like how many games you have won. However, as a fan, I want 9 games in conference just because, like you said, I want to play Mississippi State again. I love these traditions of the SEC rivalries, and we haven't been able to get all of them recently. And especially with how many new coaches and that we have, and the transfer portal running amok, so all the players are going everywhere. So maybe one guy was your best wide receiver, and now he's on an opposing team, and now you get to play against each other. So the storylines are better. So I prefer 9 conference games. So we'll see what happens. Will it make
I
it harder? I don't know, maybe.
I don't see it happening. I think they're gonna vote against it.
Probably.
I don't think it will, just because um, coaches don't want to lose. They want to get to the playoffs. At this
Yeah.
point, it's kind of like it does, regular schedule doesn't matter anymore. It does, but everyone is just trying to get to the playoffs, and that's
Yeah.
understandable. That's fine. But that's just making for scheduling being a little weird.
So I do hope like the qualifications to make the playoffs change. And we have talked about that in the past. But I'm sitting here like the SEC claims to be the leader in the sport. I think they're the leader in the sport as well. So act like it. Go out there and play 9 conference games, set the standard that we're going to do this. Yes, it's so much harder here. And if we drop 3 games, we should still be in consideration because we played a hard Georgia, a hard Texas, a hard Ole Miss, a hard Tennessee, and we went through the gauntlet already. So put us in the playoffs. And I think if they set that standard, it might be a little bit of growing pains with how they qualify you to make the playoffs. But I think if they start doing that, it'll work out in their favor eventually.
Yeah, I would hope so. It'll be interesting to see what they decide. I see most of the coaches voting against it.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, if I was an AD, I would be scheduling the dumbest games in the world. Like,
I would too. Like Texas, Ohio State, I'd cancel that immediately. I'd say I'm not playing them.
immediately. Respect to Ohio State. We don't want to play you at the moment. We
And
don't.
I'm sure Ohio State, I know they're gonna be like, we don't care, but you don't want to play Texas at the moment either, because you don't know what Arch Manning's gonna do game 1. So it could be a loss on either side first game of the season. And then that's bad for your resume moving forward.
And I'm not going to say, I mean, I haven't paid attention to jack squat about Ohio State since they won. Um, I just don't care. Sorry. But I will say that, like, I don't know who's leaving. I don't know what's coming in. I don't know what's going on over there. But they had an incredible team last year. So it, sometimes you have an incredible team, and then the next year you're atrocious, like Michigan.
Like FSU.
Yeah, FSU. Like, and then sometimes you have an incredible team, and the next year you have an incredible team because not everyone left.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what Ohio State comes out with next year. Not going to pay attention to it until it starts, but it'll be interesting.
It'll be awesome. So, what do you guys think? Do you want 8 conference games or 9 conference games? Let us know in the playoffs. I think 9. Georgia, what do you think?
9.
I like 9. We're the premier league, so act like it.
SEC, SEC, SEC.
Now we get roasted in the comments. Hi guys, follow us on social media and watch all our episodes.